So Madan, hi, very warm welcome from the middle road. Today I met you at Tech Startup, you're a mentor here. So Madan, just take us through. You're a technologist, you're a consultant, you traveled a lot, you've stayed a lot in Midwest, in the US. What drove you? What drove your passion towards mentorship?
Yeah, so hi everyone, this is Madan. So I'm a hardcore mentor. By saying hardcore mentor, meaning, I know what people are looking at, what we should give, and what we should really give to the society. What are the drawbacks that we are seeing, we are observing. So everything is coming out based on my observations. Now, what I'm observing in the society, whether we are providing the solutions to those problems or not, whether those are aligned or not, that is what exactly I'm doing through my mentorship. Now, today there are many startups which they have come over here and they are building the nice solutions. Whether those solutions they are really adding a value to the society, that's what I'm looking at. They're trying to solve a lot of issues. But are they really issues? Are they really trying to solve the hard problem or not? That's exactly I look for, and that is my passion. And that's how this mentoring has come into the picture. I started my journey with, I'm basically a mechanical engineer. I started working as a production line supervisor for one of the manufacturing companies. And then I moved into the IT industry because IT was booming at that time. The time was calling me that, okay, do something different. And that's how I came to the IT world and I started with the product development. So we developed the products in financial spaces. We developed the product in the rural Gram Panchayat areas, so we worked on the products for them also. Those were in Marathi, Hindi and English. So we worked on that. So we did a little automation at that level. So this is, I'm telling you the story in 2000s. Then I moved into a MNC, it's again a typical service-based industry. With them, I got a chance to travel abroad, in US and Australia. I took the experience from the overseas customers also. What I found is all these customers, they have a very peculiar thought process. That thought process was missing here, the people who work here. And that's how it started, that I can guide them in a better way. That's the passion where I see, okay, I can play something different role for them. And the best part, which I believe, I can connect to at any level. I can talk to the CEOs, I can talk to the ground reality staff as well. That's the key point which I have observed. I used to talk to many people in overseas, in India also. And I can easily connect, I can relate to them. And then I found, okay, that's my passion. Let me explore that. Then I started blogging on my website. I started blogging on LinkedIn. Then I ended up writing a technology thing. I have written the international book, specifically on chatbots because those were emerging in 2015. And that's how I ended up doing many things and passing that experience to the people as a mentorship.
So very interesting. Now, before I go to chatbots, I'm really interested on your work in the rural development, which you talked about. You talked about a lot in sustainability. Could you just take us through, because that's how did you leverage technology for the less privileged people? I mean, how did you sort of
see, in those days, there were initiatives from the government of Maharashtra that the internet was there and we need to automate those areas as well. There were funds given to the Gram Panchayats to automate their operations, to automate, for example, there are certain utaris that we call in Marathi. So there are certain reports that we need to generate. So how those can be automated using the software. So that was the wave that was happening in 2000s. So we developed the product, and the company where I was working, I was employed, they were working on a product. And that product was in Marathi. So that was the best thing that we were doing for the people, because the people, they would be using the software, they were Marathis, right? So they can understand the software in Marathi. They can do all the data can be captured in that language. And then that will be fed to the system and the system will generate various reports. For example, like the property bills that we get from the corporates, right? That municipal corporation, they send us, they print 10 reports of your property bills. Now we have done these things earlier using the software. So those things, we were educating the people, at the same time we are moving them on a software, then handwritten bills, maintaining the entire data. So there was a special budget that was given to all these Gram Panchayats and there is also at panchayat level also the automation that was planned in those days. So I got a chance to work with them. I was also one of the team members to go and implement in those areas as well. So you go and educate the people. Those days, they were asking, sir, this is not working. What was that? The printer was not working. Even though for the printer problem, they used to come to us. And we used to tell, hey, we are not hardware guys, we are software guys. So that was the gap, but we still used to address those issues. Because people were on the way of becoming the technical experts, or maybe on the way of the technology, where how they can use the data, how they can capture the data. And we were a part of that journey. I'm really feeling proud nowadays that yes, I was a part of that journey.
Fantastic. And so you talked about mentorship. Now, what have you seen in the recent years? How your role as a mentor has developed?
See, the first thing is everyone needs a mentor. If you are having a mentor, then you would be definitely reached to at certain level. At the same time, mentors are also seeing the mentees whether they are capable of doing those things, whether they are ready to accept my mentorship or not. So mentor and mentee, they are really sharing a nice relationship. You really need to judge what they are looking for. You don't have to spoon feed them. At least you should see that, okay, where these guys are stuck, whether I can help them or not. If not, whether my network can help them or not. So that also comes.
So you think over the recent years, when you talk about mentorship, has the demand for the mentee, changed, evolved over a period of time?
So I could see there are a lot of people there asking help from the mentors. So it's not only in the technology area, but in other areas also. You should have at least one guru in your life. That is much needed because based on their experience, they can guide you in a better.
Nowadays, it could be usually always a spiritual guru. Nowadays, when you're talking about a guru, it's more of a tech guru, or
yes.
Tech mentor. So just for a lot of my audience to be clear on that.
Yeah.
Right. So now, if I may ask you how the entrepreneurship sector is evolving in India. Now, you've seen it globally. You've seen it in the US. You've seen it in other parts of the world. What do you think are the key differentiators, and what could be the enablers here which you can implement?
See, in terms of entrepreneurial world, we really need to come up with the ideas which are really addressing the hard problems. First, identify the problem that you are really solving, whether you are solving it or not. That's the first thing. Second thing, if you can excite your investors, that's really important. So even though the idea is good, but you can't excite your investors, you can't bring in the money, it's of no use. And the third thing is know your customers better. If you're already serving some part of customers, let's say I'm already an established corporate or established company, then I really need to sit with my customers and would like to know more from them. That is much needed. You work with your customers pretty closely, understand them, what exactly they are looking at, and solve it. Try to address that. Even if you address your customers' requirements, half the battle is won. That is what is much needed. Identify your customer, understand their problem, work with them, at least try to solve their problems. I'm not saying, okay, you try to solve the world's problem. No, you have people around you. Try to solve their smallest problem. That is really important.
Last but not the least, you shared a wonderful perspective. You are also an entrepreneur, you have your own blog. Would you share a bit about how the blog space is evolving? That's very interesting. I've been blogging for the last 4 years and now I'm doing something much more than a blog.
So I'll tell you my story, how I started writing about the tech stuff. I found I was reading a lot, I was listening a lot in those days, and then I realized that okay, I can also write. So I started writing, and then I checked with me various people that how do you find the style of writing, the way I'm putting my thoughts across. They said it is interesting.
Okay.
So we would like to read further. So that motivated me, and that's how I started writing again and again. And the focus area for me was the emerging technologies. For example, I started writing on chatbots when the bots were launched in US. I started writing on the Google new products when the Google launched them. I used to watch all these shows from the TechCrunch and all the other tech blogs, and then I realized, okay, I can understand them and I can pass it on to my audience. That's how I started writing on that. And eventually what happened, based on my writing, there are technological publishers, they approached me. Hey, we have seen your blogs and you write nicely. Would you like to write a book for us? So opportunity came in to me just to write a book based on my blogs. So this space is really nice. If you really want to establish you as a brand, let's say you as a blogger, you as an influencer, you should at least write. That is really important. That writing, speaking, chatting, be on a Twitter. That is a fantastic platform for the influencers. At least you keep pushing content to your audience, which will help them, which will excite them. That is really needed. And that's how, the blogging has to be continued. Tweeting has to be continued. That's very important.
Thanks. I mean, that was a very important message for everybody. A lot of people are aspiring to be influencers. You shared a very good perspective what you want to do. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate you, taking out time and speaking with me. So this is Nishant from the Middle Road signing off. See you around.
Yep. Thanks.